Hi, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my Stampin' Up! Studio. I have a super fun card for you today. I'm going to be showing you one of the things I like to do is I like to copy things, and I know that you all like to copy things. I love it when you say that you're going to make one of the cards that you've seen on my video. And here are two that I recently did, and they've both been very popular, and I've had a lot of people email me and message me and say that they've been making them in their classes or for their friends. So this is one that I made, and it uses the birch background, and it uses the winter woods. So it's super pretty. It uses the ice glitter, and that was one of the things that caught everybody's attention. I'm actually getting ready to go to On Stage, and this is going to air next week, so it will be the week that I'm there. So make sure you hop over to Facebook, because I'll have some sneak peeks of things that will be coming up in January while we're in Lansing. But this will be a version of one of my trades. It has some holiday catalog stuff on it, so I'm going to switch it up, and I'll probably do a video of how I switch this up to keep it all stuff from annual catalog. So I'll copy myself. And then this is another one, and there will be another version of this because we are going to do this at camp, and I haven't remade it yet. This one uses waterfront and the frosted frames and the buffalo check. So the card I'm going to do now, we're making this at camp, but I wanted to use the Snowfront stamp set. My cat's giving me his ball at my feet. I'm trying to ignore him. He's putting it into my bucket that's ready for camp. I wanted to give them the Snowfront stamp set. I used this when the waterfront was on sale. So what the card I'm going to do now is actually a December camp project, and I'm going to mash the two of them together. So I'm going to take this elements that I like of this card and elements I like of this card, and I'm going to smush them together. So it's kind of what you can do when you see something that you like that I've made or somebody else has made, and you might not have exactly the things, but pull the elements that you like out of it. So I'm going to switch it. I'm not going to use waterfront. I'm going to use Snowfront, but they are a matching set. So if you already have waterfront, or if you've bought Snowfront, you'll want to get the other one, because this is more the summer season. I made it work by adding the snow to the mountains, and I made it be more of a winter set for this card. But this actually is the winter set. You can see everything's, it's got some snow and some, a snowman even, and the cottage here does have snow capped. And then I'm going to use the birch, which was this, but I'm going to keep this a light and airy card, and so I went with a vanilla background. So the card doesn't take very long, and I'll show you these again at the end so you can see just how I've done it. So when I use my backgrounds like this, it's a red rubber one, and I don't care if this one is particularly, like when I did this, it's on a Stamparatus because I wanted that to be nice and bold. This doesn't have to be super bold, and it doesn't have to be super perfect. So here's a half sheet of vanilla. Fold this in half. This will be great if you haven't made your Christmas cards, or because we'll be doing this at December camp. A lot of them will be finished with their cards because, you know, it's in December, my camp. So what's wrong, Bubs? He's still bringing me his ball. I may have to throw it for him in a second, otherwise he may keep crying. So I'm going to make this a happy birthday card because, you know, what, Bubby? I know, you have your ball. I know, we'll bring it here. I can't reach it. He's taking it to the other side of me. I don't know how many of you have cats that play ball, because we have two cats. Our girl cat looks at him like he's crazy. Like, there's better things to do in life than bring people some things and then have them throw it away. So I've just inked this up. Again, it doesn't matter if it's inked perfectly, because I just want the overall impression of the birch, and a lot of it's going to end up getting covered up. So just lay it on here nicely. And then you don't want to like smear it so it gets smudged, but just press. Because if you rub it like this, the chances of it moving. Yeah, he's got it all the way in my camp stuff now. He's much more like a dog. He plays fetch. He finds things. He opens doors. He knocks things off. So here we go. So this is just a nice, pretty birch background. And I did go, like I said, this one was gray granite on gray granite. This one I wanted to keep a little bit more snowy because the overall effect of the, although this is pretty snowy. I haven't decided yet, and when my trades, I haven't decided, so you'll get to see that because I will film that. I always film my trades before we go. And then this is a piece of shimmer white, which is what I used on my other one. So now we're gonna build the little snowfront scene. And here's the tip when you are working with these scene building stamps. Start with the smallest images that are important, like this cottage. You don't want it to get, like you don't have a tree over the top of your cottage. So we're gonna do the cottage first, and I'm using basic gray. Again, there's no black on this card. I'm keeping it all light and airy. So, and every card's gonna be a little bit different. So I have my cottage. They're distinctive stamps, so they've got nice layerings of colors. I've already filmed once today and I said distinctive, because that's a word sometimes that can throw me on my migraine medicine, because I don't say it often. So now I'm gonna do the deer, because again, you don't want the trees on top of your deer. So there's two little deer on Christmas Eve. No, because Christmas night. We were coming home from Christmas at my sister's. My daughter was probably 7, 6, 7. You know, when Christmas Eve or Christmas, maybe it was Christmas Eve. I think it was Christmas night. It's still really magical. And a mommy deer and a baby deer were crossing the road, and my husband hit the mommy and killed it. So, you know, lessons of nature on Christmas night. And then this is a happy birthday set that I pulled out of just another annual catalog set. Stamp it on the inside in espresso. Every time we drive by that place, because you know my sister still lives in the same spot around the holidays, we always remember the poor baby deer that lost its mom on Christmas night. Thankfully, we weren't hurt. So that's all I need of those colors. So now we're gonna go. We have these two. Now I know I want to put a star on the largest tree. So that's gonna be what I fill in next, is the largest pine. And this set gives you several different pine. I think there's maybe 4 pine trees, and they're all mounted separately. So I'm gonna do the largest pine tree. And I'm gonna put it here by my cottage. And again, I don't want it like overlap my cottage, because these are focal points. So go with the images that you know are focal, and now you can start having some overlaps, because you know a forest would overlap. I guess I didn't need to shut that. But instead, now I'm gonna go with, again, the things that are a little bit bigger, because then you can start filling in with the smaller pieces. So if you start with smaller pieces, then it's harder to fit the big ones in, but you can squish the little ones in. I'm gonna go back to the gray granite, which is what my birch is stamped in. And these trees, they look a little bit crooked. Let me look at this stamp set. I don't know if maybe I've mounted them on here crooked. No, they're crooked. So they look a little bit windblown. The way that one of them shows up on my original card, I thought I stamped crooked, but then I didn't mean to check that before I did this. So again, you want to make sure that you don't stamp on your deer or on your cottage. And some of this is going to get, if you watched my other video, I ripped some of it off. So some of it's going to get torn. So because these are the largest, I'm just kind of filling in space. And I don't want them to go off the horizon. So let me grab this. This is actually the paper from my other card. So you can see how the trees kind of match, but the trees in the waterfront are connected together. Put one down here. And here's what I'm going to do for this one. I'm going to tear off some scrap paper. So I just want one tree. So I just want this nice big one. So I'm going to lay this here. And I just want one tree right here. So I'm going to put this here. And then I can also, this is the one that kind of bends a little bit. So this time I'm going to straighten it up and put it there. So now I have one tree that kind of filled that in. Now I'm going to go to the smaller pine trees and start filling everything in. So I'm going to start with the biggest of them. You can see there's 2 little ones here and a bigger one here. The 2 smaller ones aren't hugely different in size. They're just kind of different in shape. And these obviously will overlap because in the forest, trees would overlap. And you don't want them all in a straight line because trees wouldn't grow in a straight line in your yard or in nature. I think I'm going to leave that for a smaller one. There's really not a way you can do these wrong. So don't, one of them's fatter and one of them's skinnier. The only thing that you could really do wrong is to do too much. Less is more on these. Some of this over here is going to get ripped off. And you can also rip the side, because this is almost the full length of the, it is the full length of the cardstock. You're going to rip one side. This one also stamps a little lighter. So if you end up not liking one side as much as the other, then rip that side. I didn't stamp that one very well. So we'll just stamp over the top of it. There, we've got that. And then it also comes with two little birds. I'm only going to put one on here. And I'm going to use Mary Merlot. And here's the reason why. Sometimes people ask me how I choose my colors. This is how I chose this color. My camp is ready for Saturday. And all of my Real Red and Cherry Cobbler, even though I have multiples of stamp pads, I have lots of most colors. All of those are already put in buckets. So I'm left with a Mary Merlot, and it works. In fact, I kind of liked it once I did it. So here, I'm not going to put the bird on the same tree that it's on my original card because it depends on where you have a nice open branch, because you don't want him to be in green. So let's put him here. Now we're going to add the ice glitter. But before you do that, you do want to cut your card down because you don't need to glitter something that's going to get torn off. So let's decide which side we don't need. On the other one, I ripped this and had more of this, but my bird was over here. So I might rip twice on this one, or you can rip once and cut. So I really don't like the way I stamped that tree there. And then I'm just going to take my scissors, which is, you know, we have a fabulous new paper trimmer, but it's ready for camp. And, you know, y'all can cut a straight line on something this little. Because once upon a time when we stamped, we didn't have paper trimmers, and we had to use scissors. Look, nobody, especially because it's got this background, if it's a tad bit crooked, nobody's going to notice. Sometimes people act like they're handicapped in stamping if they can't, like it's a golf handicap. I can't do it if they don't have their paper trimmer, but you can cut a little straight line. You can't cut a circle. I will give you that. None of us can do that. So use your fine tip glue. And I see people open this part. It's the white, this is the cap, this is not the cap. And it's harder to get the little lid back on because it comes with this little needle that keeps it from stopping up. But if you take this part off, then it's harder to get this in. So just take the cap off. Don't take part of the thing off. So you want to put the fine tip glue, especially for those of you that might not live where we get frost on our trees. It doesn't frost on the trunk. It frosts on the branches. And it doesn't frost a whole lot on pine. It does, if we have a super duper frost, it will stay on the pine, but not a lot. So I'm going to add a teeny bit to the pine so they don't look empty, but you don't need it on the branches. You obviously don't want it on your bird, and don't put it anywhere close to the bird because you don't want any of the glue to kind of smear over there. And so I'm just going to, not on every branch, because anywhere the sun has hit, it's going to have melted. So we're going to pretend like the sun's already out. But it does stay on the roofs. So go over here and put some glue on your roof. And, you know, in theory, it would be all over the ground, but we're not doing that. No, I was going to put some pine trees on the inside of my card. I'll have to do that before I mount this. So the fine tip glue will smear a little bit into the green. So you got to work fast now. It doesn't really smear, it just soaks up some of the green. So just hit a few of the branches. You don't want a ton of them. In fact, on these out here, I kind of go over the top of the branches because that's kind of where the frost is anyways. It sits on top of them. And then it's less likely to turn a little bit green. There you go. And if you haven't used this, see this little needle? The quicker you get it back in, the better. It just slides right in there, and then it keeps it from drying up. Sometimes I put these out at events, and it's not my camp events, it's oftentimes when we have demonstrators, and those don't get put back in right, and then your glue dries up. And the whole point of having that little tip is to keep your glue always good until the bottle's gone. So once this gets on here, then that kind of stops the green from mixing in with the glue. And you can be really liberal with it and get it all on there because all of this is going to just go back in the... So look how pretty that is it not? This ice glitter is fabulous, and I have already ordered enough that in case it would sell out, because a lot of times it's these kind of things that sell out of our catalog and then we don't get them in because by the time the lead time would come, the catalog would be over. So they order what they hope is enough. But then if people start doing fabulous things with it and more people order it than what they anticipate, it's gone. So I've ordered enough of these that I hope that we'll have enough for camp, because you do want a nice liberal coat because it looks so pretty. It looks like old-fashioned vintage glitter. So 2 more things because I forgot to put the tree in here. So I kind of like the big tree. So let's put the big tree down here. Just because it's so pretty, it stamps so pretty. And then let's go back and get our little set of trees. And add those there. So now we have a nice decorated inside. And if you want it to be a Christmas card, by all means put Merry Christmas, because it does look Christmassy. Then you could add a bird too if you wanted. I didn't on my other one. And then I'm going to take the stars, which kind of gives it a Christmas feel. And again, I've ordered enough of these because they could sell out. There are several things that are getting on the low inventory list, and last I checked, these were not. A lot of our papers were. And I'm going to put this right on top of the big tree that's by the house, which is another reason I wanted it by the house, and I wanted it centered to the card, or centered-ish. And I'm going to take dimensionals, and I'm going to actually put them on my card, not on this, because the glitter just takes a minute to dry. But you can pretty much figure where this is going to land. Just pop those off. I do have a special in November. If you spend $115 on my website and use the host code, you do get a free paper trimmer. After I just told you that you don't need it. You do need it for a lot of projects. You just don't need it to cut something this small. I guess I better turn that around to see if it's straight. Just don't press down on them until you have it where you want it, since you put them on the card first. There we go. Super simple, super quick. In fact, it would, if you have the waterfront stamp set, you could make a really pretty set of gift cards or cards for somebody for Christmas and go through the seasons, because you could do spring, summer, fall, and winter, and then make cards for them as a gift. So here we have the ones I've made. And you can see the trees just get a little bit placed different. My birds are in different places, but it's overall the same card. So here's the elements I took of this, which were pretty much the colors and the glitter, and then using the birch background. Oh, where'd my other one go? And then this one I went with the vanilla because I liked the way that looked. And then I switched from the waterfront, which has more of a, I think this is like a little fishing hut it looks like an outhouse. Just saying. It has a much more smaller thing, but the star, and I opted, instead of the snow, which you could use our snowfall, Puff Accents paint if you would rather, instead of the glitter. I'm in love with the glitter. So those are kind of mixed up. I am going to do a version of this with Snowfront because that's what they're doing at camp, and that's my last camp card that I have to put together, but I wanted to get this filmed before this was in its bucket. So that one will actually post before this, so you will have been able to see all of these before you watch this video. So there you go. When you're watching this, it will be the week of On Stage. So my Facebook page is Cheri's Cards, and I will have a link for that down below. So I will have some sneak peeks over on Facebook. I may do a YouTube. Sometimes we're doing an event the Friday before, and then we have a center stage, and then we have On Stage, and then we come home. So there's really not a whole lot of time for me to download and upload to YouTube and edit. So it's easier just to go live on Facebook or to post things over there. That's why my YouTube doesn't see a whole lot of love while I'm gone. That's why I'm trying to get these things done ahead of time. But again, I have the special $115 order with my host code, and you get a free paper trimmer, but there are also specials if you spend less. So everybody have a fantastic day. Bye.